Hello, good morning. Today we'll discuss about the shear stresses in the beams. In the last session, we have seen how bending stresses are developed due to external bending moment and internal bending moment in a beam. Now, because in a beam the shear stresses are not zero, very less cases we come across where shear force is zero. There we have the case of pure bending. But when the bending moment is varying from section to section, shear force is also varying from section to section, and at very one point the shear force is zero. And due to existence of shear in all the sections, shear stresses are developed in the sections. So it may be horizontal shear stress. Horizontal shear stresses are accompanied by vertical shear stress. So vertical force divided by cross section of the beam will be the shear stress. Simultaneously, a horizontal shear stress is also developed, which is called as a complementary shear. So now we'll take up a beam of span L, and we'll take two sections AB and CD at a distance dx. This is a beam loaded with UDL or any kind of load. Then considering the two sections AB and CD at a distance dx apart. So this is a magnified view of the section. So this is the depth of the beam, and these are the two sections under consideration, AB and CD. So here there will be one moment, here there will be another moment. So I have designated here the moment as M, and here the moment as M plus delta M. This may be increment or it may be a decrement. So this is a neutral layer where the beam neither experiences compression, neither tension, and a layer is considered at a distance y from the neutral axis. Then a thin elemental cylinder is considered, where here the bending stress will be sigma, here the bending stress will be sigma plus d sigma, and at this level shear stress tau is acting. So if I still magnify the figure, we will get this figure. So here this is the section, this is the width of the beam, and a layer EF is considered, where you are required to find the shear stress. So this is at a level y1 from neutral axis. Okay. So I have considered small elemental area dA along the section. So this distance is dx. So at this point the force on this elemental cylinder will be bending stress multiplied by cross section area. Here also bending stress multiplied by cross section area. So dA is the elemental area of the cylinder, and dx is the length of the element, that is this is the length of the element. Sigma is the bending stress on the end of the elemental cylinder. This is sigma, and here it will be sigma plus d sigma. So if you find the force due to bending stress, it should multiply stress multiplied by area. Okay. So this is about the only elemental cylinder. So let us see what are the stresses developed. Bending stress at a distance y from neutral axis is given by M by I is equal to sigma by y. That is, sigma will be equal to M by I into y. So bending stress on the section AB, that is first section, so it will be sigma equal to M by I into y. Then similarly bending stress on the section CD at a distance of dx from AB, it will be equal to M plus dm divided by I divided into y, because here at section CD the bending moment is M plus dm. Therefore, force on the elemental cylinder will be equal to stress multiplied by area. Force on the elemental cylinder on the section AB will be equal to sigma multiplied by dA, elemental area, that is M by I into y dA. Similarly, force on the end of the elemental cylinder on the section CD will be equal to sigma plus d sigma into dA. So sigma plus d sigma will be, at that it will be M plus dm divided by I into y dA. Then elemental force on the net unbalanced force on the elemental cylinder will be equal to difference of these two forces. So that is m plus dm divided by I into y dA minus m by I into y dA. So if you take the net force, unbalanced force, it will be dm by I into y dA. So that is so here if I take this length of the beam, so this element is pushed by the unbalanced force dm by I into y dA. So total unbalanced force, this is I have taken only small element of the cylinder. So if I take full area, you have to integrate such all unbalanced forces. So integration between the depth will be having dm by I into y into dA. Dm is constant, I is constant for a particular loading and into y dA. Integration of y dA is nothing but total area into distance of CG, centroid. Okay. So it will be equal to dm by I into A y bar, where A is the area of the section above the level F and y bar is the distance of centroid or the CG of the area from neutral axis. So that is, if you consider this area, EF is the shaded area. So y bar is the distance from neutral axis of the CG of the area. And this area is width of the section at a particular level and into depth. That will be the total area. That is the total shaded area. So you have to take A y bar. A area is this much and y bar is distance of this shaded area from neutral axis. Then shear resistance at the level EF is equal to total unbalanced force. Total unbalanced force we have calculated dm by I into A y bar. Now let us consider the shear stress. What will be the shear stress? Let tau be the shear stress of the at the level EF of the beam, and let B be the width of the beam at the level EF. So this you have to be very careful. Here I have taken only the width rectangular beam. In case of I section, if the level is in the web level, then you have to take B at the web level. So B is not width of the beam. It is the width of the beam at particular level where you require shear stress or shear force. Then area on which tau is acting is B multiplied by dx. So this is the width B, width of the beam is B and area is dx. So on that area it is acting. So shear force due to tau will be equal to shear stress multiplied by area. So tau into B dx will be the shear force. So equating, in order the system should be in equilibrium, in order that this should not slide, the system should be equilibrium, we have to equate the two values of shear force. Net unbalanced force must be balanced by shear force. So dm by I into A y bar is equal to tau into B into dx. So simplifying, if you take tau, it will be dm by dx into A into y bar divided by I divided by B. So dm by dx, we know that relation between bending moment, shear force and loading. If you differentiate bending moment, you will get shear force. If you differentiate shear force, you will get the load. So differentiation of bending moment with respect to length, you will get the shear force. So tau is equal to F A y bar upon IB, where F is the shear force at the particular section, A is the area above the level where you require shear force, shear stress, then y bar is the distance of the level area above the level EF, and I is the full moment of inertia of the section, and B is the width of the section at where you require the shear stress. Okay. So suppose a beam is considered, if it is simply supported and if it is of different loading like this, so at particular section, if you calculate, so at this section there will be shear force. So this is a shear force. So this is the shear force at the section, and shear force divided by this area, you will get the average shear stress. Okay. Similarly, when there is a shear force developed due to the loading here on the section, a complementary shear is also developed at the particular level. So you have to calculate this shear stress which may lead to the sliding of the section. So in order that this section should not slide, so this is the level EF, so this section should not slide like this. So this is the unbalanced force due to the bending stress. So this unbalanced force must be equated to the shear stress. So here there will be shear stress multiplied by area on which it is acting, that is the shear force. So unbalanced force due to bending must be equated to the shear force developed due to the shear stress. So they are equating that, we get the shear stress. So in all the problems related to shear stress, you have to find shear stress at different levels. Just like bending stress you have calculated from neutral axis to the extreme end of top fiber and bottom fiber, here also you have to calculate shear stress across the section of the beam. So usually shear stress at the top end and the bottom end, or the top fiber and the bottom fiber, shear stress will be 0 and it is maximum at the neutral axis. Okay. So let us solve some problems regarding this. Okay, thank you.